Hey everybody, it's Hyper, and I'm back for another update on the Wild Hunters. Alright, this is going to drop in the lore series, and I'm just loving all of these things Tomislav is dropping for us. Day after day, we're just getting more and more. It just makes me more and more hyped up for what's coming for the series. So, yesterday on May 30th, Tomislav said, another story-related creature that you might encounter one day. Now, this was put on his Twitter page, and on it we see, on the left-hand side, another little bit of lore drop, some just like glimpses into the actual life and history behind these, what are called the workers. And I think these workers, honestly, to me, are the scariest ones yet. Not really because they are the most imposing or the most dangerous looking, but they're just uncanny, man. Like, they remind me of the alien from the newest Aliens movie, and that just it just kind of gives me the creeps, right? No eyes, tiny little mouth, long limbs, held up like a dinosaur. It's just weird, man. And they're doing great to invoke like a feeling of honestly, like terror in us, really, and speculation as to how these are going to affect our lives on Scum Island. Now, if we look at the next thing we get from Tomislav, we get this, and this is basically a breakdown and another lore drop of the story behind the workers, or I guess like more of a description, right? So it says the workers are here to help the queen and take care of the eggs before they are hatched. There aren't many of them around. They are slim with a white colored skin covered with mud, slime, and dried blood. They look like taller, undeveloped adults with an average height of 160 centimeters. Their hands have long fingers made for safely carrying eggs to hatching chambers. Hands are just 3 long claws like fingers. They walk on legs but are unnaturally bent towards the front, holding hands bent and close to the face, as if they are about to launch themselves, like an old woman leaning on the stick. Their head is average in size, with no eyes, ears, hair, or anything. The only thing they have are very small circular mouths that are used for feeding from sucking the mother's milk. The workers are fully blind. Being developed from the sterilized newborns, they don't have any reproductive organs. Their bodies are far from fragile, and they can sustain a lot of damage. The queen commands them fully, using her psychic powers. Sometimes they are sacrificed as food to feed the newborns. In combat, they use their razor-sharp nails, slashing through the flesh and bones, tearing their opponents in half. However, it's not difficult to avoid them by being still or quiet, but the problem is that they are usually in tight places and are hard to be avoided. Man, that is some crazy stuff right there. I think the one thing that really piqued my curiosity was this little comment here about psychic powers. Like, psychic powers, guys. Like, what are we talking about here? Psychic powers and Scum. So, they kind of lose me on that one. I'm totally about the whole science and the phoenix tears and the genetic modification and the mutants and stuff, but the psychic powers is getting a little bit out there for me. But they still are super cool. Even with that, without that like thrown to the side, you look at these guys and their purpose within, I guess, what I would now call the colonies of the Wild Hunters is just crazy, right? They're blind. They have like a use in combat. They have a use like utility-wise and caring for the young and even feeding the young. It's pretty brutal. And, you know, they are under complete control of what we now is to be true, that there is a queen. There is a queen of the Wild Hunters, confirmed, right? And I assume that when we go into these deep, dark, creepy places like the hatching chambers, which we covered in the previous videos, we're going to run into quite a lot of these. I mean, they say there's not a lot, but if you're in the hatching chamber, what else is there going to be? You know what I mean? I doubt we're going to see an alpha or any warriors hanging around down there. But yeah, they look wild, man. I think I am really excited to see these in the game, but I don't know. I have some nitpicks, just particularly like that psychic powers thing, you know. Other than that, let's get on to looking into the actual photo itself. All right, so here we have the actual photo that we can take apart in detail. Now, I think the first thing I noticed when I look at this feature is not like the head or the face or anything, but for whatever reason, my eyes are drawn up to his back, and the back looks like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell what's up there. It could be like some rocks and sticks for sure, maybe some antlers. I don't know what all of that stuff is, but definitely, I mean, you could tell that this guy is busy and is putting to work and trucking, right? You can see that he is carrying different cuts of meat, and all of them appear to be from the human variety. And he is carrying them in the hatching chambers. You see different skeletal pieces, you know, skulls, what appear to be some like hip bones and just all kinds of stuff on the ground. You can tell these little babies are eating good nowadays, right? We have another close look, higher definition look at one of these towers on the left-hand side with the fire inside. It's like the incubation chamber, right, that I was talking about previously. But one thing we do see here is on the right-hand side, opposite of that, we have like a little sunlight, or a little, what is it called? It's not a sunlight. I'm drawing a blank here, but you guys get what I'm saying. The natural like windows you put on roofs so you can get sunlight in them. I don't remember what they're called. This is so weird, right? But right there. So this is telling me that this is either really close to the surface, or there's a flashlight peering down here, or there's a shaft of some kind that goes really far, right? So these guys definitely look like they might have access routes to get up on top and harass us in our day-to-days while we're, you know, trying to survive on Scum Island, right? And the next thing I want you guys to notice is they're taller than the average human. Look at the size of these eggs. We're not talking about no infants like that are, you know, being coddled in their arms by their mom, being rocked and, you know, suckled. These things are insanely huge. Like, the egg goes up to his, I assume if you're standing right next to it, probably up to his pelvis. That's a big baby. That's a big baby in any species. And I'm kind of terrified to see what the babies look like after looking at this guy. Let's get to the face really quick. We can't really, you know, go much farther without being drawn to that. I mean, look at that. It looks like he has seen some stuff, guys. This could either be bullet holes or like a blunt trauma to the face. You can clearly see there's some blood going on from these holes right here, and it definitely does not look like that was natural, right? Look at that tiny little mouth, though. Doesn't that's just sick, man. Like, that's all I can say is, like, that's sick. It reminds me of, like, a sea urchin or, like, the Kraken mixed with, again, the alien from Alien Covenant. Like, that thing creeped me the hell out, and this looks like that to me, and I'm sure they got some inspiration from that. Again, like they said, there are no ears. You can see that there's like a kind of a dimple. Like you can see this in certain species that don't have fully formed ears. They've got these little dimples on the side, and you can see like they have what appear to be some kind of vestigial like structures on their face where eyes maybe used to be before they underwent their transformations or before their genes were mutated. It's really just uncanny, and it just feels weird to look at this stuff, right? You can tell like they've got a pretty good build too, though. Look at their arms, look at their legs. It's not like these guys are weak or, you know, emaciated by any means. If I saw this, I would be terrified. And let's take a look at these hands really quick too. Look at those claws. That reminds me of one thing in particular, and that is the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. Like, those hands speak to me. Like when you see the claw twitching of the young Indominus, like, man, that's what that looks like, and that is a menacing claw and hand right there, right? Now, on the next thing I want you guys to see, other than just their three-toed or three-fingered hands, right, I guess would be the more proper term, is it looks like they have the blood in the mud all over them, right? Now, this could either be from, you know, caring for the young, who I imagine are extremely aggressive, right? Just looking at the wild hunters themselves, I can see how it would be a hazardous duty to care for these youngs and just transport them and especially feed them, considering, you know, these workers are being fed to them quite blatantly. So maybe these are wounds from either battle with forces topside, or babies, or maybe just abuse from the other members of the Wild Hunter Society, because it's pretty easy to see that a lot of these guys throughout history, like, they're essentially slaves, right? I assume they are no stranger to abuse, right? Now, if we look at his clothing, similar like we did to the other Wild Hunter variants, you can see that he literally just has a loincloth. He doesn't have any fancy things on his knees. He doesn't have any, like, headdress of any kind. He doesn't have any armor. He doesn't have anything hanging from his waist, such as, like, those files or skulls or food. It's just a loincloth. So this tells you, like, I guess, one thing, I guess they can value modesty, if anything. But it doesn't say much for the rest of their lifestyle, which appears to be very sad. And I really hope, since they're being controlled psychically by this queen, that they are not aware of what's going on around them, because that would be a pretty sad existence, if you ask me, right? Now, the other thing I see that is pretty funny to me that we have seen in, like, every drop to date, pretty much, of these in-color photos, is these damn pine tree air fresheners. And here we see it again. Like, the worker is no different. The worker has these little air fresheners on it. And I think that's hilarious because it's like, maybe it's hinting to something, like maybe there's an overarching theme, maybe it's just an inside joke of the developers, who knows. But the more I notice these, the more I find it hilarious, and the more I find myself asking a lot of questions about the significance of things, because they put the effort to put them into all these photos. So it's got to be something with a payoff somewhere, you know, even if it's not for us on the consumer end. But yeah, these guys are wild, man. I mean, what do you guys think of these? If you look at their feet too, they only have 3 toes on their feet, so I think that's interesting. I don't know why they only have 3 fingers instead of 5. It definitely makes them creepier. I mean, they're like a menacing murder sloth, but yeah, man, these guys are gonna be brutal when they're added to the game. I really can't see where this is gonna take it. Like, the more and more they talk to about the Wild Hunters, like, we get a more fleshed out like story, but we still have a lot more questions. Like, this leaves me with many more questions than it actually answers. Like, how many Wild Hunters are there for them to have these, you know, specialized colonies like this? You know, they have a hierarchy, they have warriors, they have the queen, they are very intelligent, yet they still have this very strict and very disciplined way of life. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that actually works, right? And hopefully Thomas Lab will keep giving us more of these drops, because I am loving them. I am eating these up as he gives them to us. Anyways, guys, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Tell me if you like these videos. Tell me what you would like me to cover in the future, because I really enjoy doing this. I know I was a little bit late to the party on this one. A busy day on the 30th, Memorial Day. It's a big day for me and a lot of like family and stuff. We take stuff like that seriously, so I took a little break from doing all this, right? Now, if you guys like supporting the content, go ahead and check out my Patreon. No hard feelings if you don't. I mean, really, if you honestly believe in what I'm doing, I appreciate the help. But again, no hard feelings. Again, I do this because I enjoy it. It's a hobby, and I have a good time. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, and tell me what you'd like to see from me in the future. I thank you so much and appreciate all the support in any kind, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to check out the other parts of the Wild Hunter series if you want to get a bigger, in-depth view at the Wild Hunter universe. So, like I said, for like the 10,000th time, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.